Well, joining us now is Nicole, and she is an author, a speaker, a catechist. She joins us today to talk about her book, Forever You. And Nicole, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I would apologize about the weather, but it was your choice to come out here, so, you know, I mean, it is what it is.
I consider it penance.
There you go. Well, Nicole, what made you decide to write this book?
That's a really good question, and I get it often. I wrote this book because I taught chastity to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders at the Archdiocese of Boston, and there was a 6th grade boy who answered to the question, do you think you should save yourself for marriage? He answered, it's too late, in 6th grade. Wow. And I thought to myself, why is this happening? So children need the information that they are both body and soul at a much earlier age. And how can we do that without talking about, you know, things that are for older children? We can talk about that we build our character through our actions. We can talk about that our bodies and our souls are for loving God and for loving others. And that's what this book does. It presents what our purpose is on earth as Christians to young children.
And of course, parents, I not being one, but I know this to be the truth. Parents are the best teachers to their kids about faith and about how faith intersects with real life, how our souls and our bodies are one before God and before one another. How can parents use your book, help children to read through this and to gain as much as possible from it?
Sure, that's a good point. Parents need to remember this is a picture book. So use the pictures just as much as the words to communicate to your children. So you can first go through all of the pictures and talk about what they think might be happening. Ask your children, you know, what do they see? What's going on? And begin to engage them in the pictures, then go back and read through the book. You can also identify some of the characters in the book with your children and, you know, start engaging them. And so what is this character doing? You know, who does this character look like that you know? Do you like doing these things in the book? And start sort of working on making the connection between the book and the child so that when you read the book, they already have some sort of a connection there.
You know, I don't get shocked very often on this program, but you shocked me when you gave me the reply from that 6th grader. That really shocked me.
Yes.
Is it really challenging today for young children, and I consider a 6th grader a younger child, is it a really tough environment out there for them with all these stresses and all of this, people trying to push them in this direction and so on and so forth?
Catholic TV, thank God for Catholic TV, because the rest of television is so challenging for people to be virtuous, and children are seeing this. You know, magazines are at eye level when you go into the supermarket, and there are scantily clad women all over the place, both in person and on magazines. So I think as parents, we have to first start talking to children about what are our bodies for? You know, they're not for that, but what are they for? And talking about the fact that we have a soul and that God loves us and that our soul is made for Him ultimately and for helping and loving others. The rest of the children in the survey wrote they wish they received this information sooner. So it wasn't that this young boy was brave enough to say what he said, and everyone else was sort of covering it up by saying, you know, we should have gotten something about our bodies and souls at a much earlier age, earlier than 11 years old. You know, what does that mean? What does that mean? So that's why this book was developed.
Speaking of the book, you know, I know publishers talk about the birthing process. It's not easy to write a book, no matter what kind of book it is. And I have to ask you, what was the most challenging part of putting this book together as a great resource for parents and kids?
Thank you for asking. The most difficult part was picking and choosing what to put in the book. Okay. So the Theology of the Body is a 1,000-page document. So what do you choose? Additionally, coming up with concepts, examples that, you know, that we could relate to young children was also challenging, but all challenging in a good way.
I'm going to take a guess here when we talk about theology of the body. I'm going to guess that you're probably a big fan of Blessed Pope John Paul II. Is that a good guess on my part?
That's a pretty good guess.
Yeah. What was it about his theology of the body that was something you attached yourself to?
Absolutely. I think the idea that the opposite of love is not hate, but use. You know, we're always either using someone, whether it's a relationship or a friendship, in any capacity, or we're loving them. And making that clear distinction both for the recipient and the giver, and that through loving others, we ultimately experience the love of God. And so sort of putting a definition on the meaning of life in that simple way was unbelievable to me.
I mentioned in the beginning of the show, kidsfaithgarden.com, your website. Is that the place that people should go for more information about the book and also to help them as parents to teach their children more about theology of the body?
Yes. So the website was built as an addition to the book to continue the conversation between parents and children. So you read the book, now what do you do? Now how do you continue living a virtuous life with your children? So we have some amazing contributors to the site. Tony is a contributor, and he went to Harvard University and got his graduate degree in mind, body, and the brain for children. We have Dr. Sandy Trinka, who is a contributor, and she has incredible experience. She worked for McGraw-Hill. She's a 2-time elementary school principal. But if you'd like a signed copy of the book, you need to go to the website for it, kidsfaithgarden.com, and it's there at a discount for the watchers today.
And you'll be signing this later on, I'm sure, before
Absolutely.
you go. Thank you.
Well, Nicole, thanks so much for being with us today. And you know, I have a 6th grade son, and that's why when I heard that just took me back. I have an 8th grade daughter and a 1st grade son, so keep up the great work. Very much needed, and especially as a parent, something like this is very much needed, so I appreciate it.